I have 2 videos every day, 2 videos. I have my Microsoft Teams video and I have my YouTube video. I also post assignments in Microsoft Teams and I post the assignments for math and Math Pearson. Yes.
And which page are we gonna be in?
Page 13. Okay, you need to mute yourself. Just listen to what I'm saying. Page 13, it's in your chat. Open up your chat bar. It's in your chat. Page 13 is in your chat. So, we are going to, I'm starting my YouTube video, 1st and 2nd grade science. We got the 2 videos going. I'm going to post all the assignments. I do this every day. We are going to review our vocabulary words, and we have added some words to your vocabulary words. So, my entire screen share, okay. We are added some, can you see this? I want to share my entire screen. Team that wants to share the content of the screen, choose what you like to share. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see this, but all right. So okay, I'm back. I was looking at something. Okay, so these are the vocabulary words. We are adding to our vocabulary words. I'm going to type them in the chat and I'm going to send them an email. So add to your list of vocabulary words. We are adding claim, engineer, and right now, claim and engineer. Claim, I'm putting it in the chat. And engineer, I think we had, okay. So these are added vocabulary words. So remember when we did, the other day we did our experiment. We did our experiment on page 12. Look at page 12 in your notebook. We did an experiment. We set up the experiment, we observed the dry ingredients, we recorded it, we have recorded what we observed. We observed salt when it was dry. We observed baking soda and flour. And then we added water. So we added a mixture, we added an ingredient. So 1 ingredient plus 1 ingredient equals our mixture. So we made mixtures out of those 3, salt, baking soda, and flour. And then we recorded and we predicted what might happen, which one was going to be the best glue for our school. We made a prediction, that was a guess, we took a guess. Then we performed we observed the dry mixture, we observed it after we added the water. We changed the properties of those 2 mixtures. Then we observed the wet mixture. We observed, was it wet, was it watery, was it sticky, was it gluey, did the color change? We used our senses. What did we see with our eyes? How did it change? What did it see when I touched it, right, with the spoon? What did it change to? The flour changed from the soft, fluffy, powdery stuff, and we added water to it, and it became a sticky, when I was mixing with the spoon, and I was showing you, it became a sticky, like glue-like substance. And then the salt, stayed kind of just watery, and the baking soda was a little sticky, but not as good as the flour, right? The flour was really sticky. And I know Emily Barrera did this at home, and she showed me pictures of what she did. It was really cool, right, Emily? So we observed the dry, we observed the wet. So every time you want to do an experiment, you have to design your experiment. You have to set it up. You have to record it. You have to observe it. And you have to provide proof of what you are saying. You tried an experiment, what worked, what didn't work. You need to record your answers. You made your prediction. I think, my sticky test prediction, I think that the flour glue will hold. I don't think the salt glue that we made is going to hold. We were sticking beans on the paper, right? So we made a prediction. Which one, we checked off, which one did we think was going to work and which one was not going to work. And then we actually did the actual experiment on paper like I did was yesterday. And and then we got the results of our sticky glue test. Remember? I shook the paper. And the one that stuck, the bean that stuck on the paper was which one? It was the flour and water mixture. So I put an X on the sticky test for the salt. I put an X on the sticky test for the baking soda. And I put a check mark for the flour mixture because the flour mixture stuck, was able to glue the bean on. And it stuck, it didn't fall off. So, and then the cornstarch, I don't have cornstarch, but Emily did the cornstarch and she said it was kind of sticky, but not as much as the flour. So, in gathering our evidence, this is called gathering our test evidence. This is what we call gathering of our test results. Gathering of the test results. I'm going to write that for you. Gathering of the test results. Okay? Gathering of the test results. So, this is the part of an experiment where we gather the test results. So, making the glue for school, introduce the word record. The word record. We are recording our results. Why do you think scientists and engineers write down their predictions? We're going to look at the word record. See on your chat screen the word record. I'm going to put it on the whiteboard for the YouTube video. We are going to record our test results. So, scientists and engineers use a science word that means write down or record. I recorded the class's predictions yesterday. Now you will record your predictions. We did that already. So, we shook out the paper. Do we look at page 13? Page 13 in your book. We discussed this yesterday also. It says, how can you make sure that you've tested something fairly? Remember yesterday we were asking if we tested something fairly. Because we said we can't test something and not have it all equal parts, right? Or not do it the same way. Like you need to test fairly. So what I wanted to go over with you was what can we do to make sure that this is a fair test? it says right here, what can we do to make sure that this is a fair test? So, can you guys think in your head, what can we do to make sure that this was a fair test? So for example, if I used only a little tiny little piece of bit of glue for the salt glue, and then I took a whole lot of glue for the flour glue, and I put one bean in the middle, that's really not fair, right? Because it was not the same amount of glue. So let's say, so keep our test fair. On page 13, how do we keep our test fair? Well, we would have to, this is page 13 in the notebook, we would have to use, I'm writing it in the chat, use the same amount of glue for each test. So page 13, how can you make sure you've tested something fairly? Well, in our test with the glue and the beans, we would use the same amount of glue for each test. What else? What if I put one bean on the salt glue and 5 beans in the flour glue? Or what if I put 5 beans in the salt glue and 1 glue on the flour test? Would that be a fair test? No, that would not be a fair test. So on page 13, we are going to write number 2. We're going to write use the same amount of beans on each, for each mixture. Beans for each glue mixture. So, we're going to use the same amount of beans for each glue mixture. Page 13 in your book, Sticky Test Results. Sticky Test Results. What else? We also said that, we said the amount of glue, the amount of beans. Also when I shook, yes, they're both in the chat, Emily. When I shook the papers, for example, I'm going to say shake the different mixtures only 3 times. That's how we can keep it fair. What if I shook this one 1,000,000 times? I think the bean eventually would fall off, right? If I shook this one only 3 times, it may not fall off. So the number of times we shook the bean needs to be the same. Number of times we shook the bean needs to be the same. So, page 13, Casey. Come on, guys. I'm halfway through the page. You're first asking me now what page we're on? Have you been listening? Page 13 in the science notebook. It was the first thing I said, was we're going to do page 13 in the science notebook. We are making sure that our test is fair. Okay. On the bottom of page 13, we need to end in 2 minutes. On the bottom of page 13, you're going to make a drawing. If it helps you explain your thinking, label your drawing. So make a picture, draw a picture of, you're going to illustrate how you're making your test fair.
What?
How
What
we,
do I do on number 13?
Tanisha, I will talk to you after the lesson, okay? Just listen to what I'm saying. Everything is in the chat. The top of page 13 says, how can you make sure you've tested something fairly? So what did I say were 3 major things where we tested, how we tested our experiment fairly? This experiment, this is what we're talking about, what we did all week, all last week. We prepared, we designed, we were putting together this experiment on how to produce a new glue. How do we make a new glue? We designed it. We were design engineers. We were glue engineers. We set up our test. We picked out the ingredients. We made our observations of the wet ingredients. We made our observations after I added water to the dry ingredient. We had a wet ingredient. We changed ingredients, therefore the substance changed, the mixture changed. So we went from the dry ingredient to the wet ingredient after adding water. That changed our mixture. It changed our substance, it changed our ingredients. Now we had 2 ingredients, ingredient and ingredient. One ingredient was the product, the other one was water. We added to the mixture, then we had a wet mixture. Then we made a prediction. Which one is going to stick the bean on? We made a prediction. We took a guess. Which one? Then we did the test yesterday and we got our results. So now we are recording our results. Recording. Look in your chat. Does everyone have the chat bar open? Because you need to be reading what I'm typing. We are recording what we did. What was the actual outcome? The actual outcome was the salt did not stick and the baking soda did not really stick, but the flour did stick. So we are on page 13 now. Turn the page. You finished page 12, right? Everybody should send me page 12. Everybody should email me page 12. Some of you did already, some of you did not. Everybody should email me this page 12. I'm going to grade it. I'm going to grade it as a test. Everyone needs to understand what we're doing. We've been doing for the last 2 weeks a test for making glue. So now we finished page 12. We're on to page 13. Today's lesson was page 13. It says on the top of page 13, how can you make something?
Miss Kai.
Yes.
I made picture. There's like 2 donuts, and they put the same amount of icing.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah.
Good job. Hello. Hello.
There.
Okay, so now we're on to page 13. Okie dokie. So, page 13. Why is Maribel calling me? Okay, so page 13, we have to finish science. I want to see everyone's page 13. That's what we just did in class and the drawing. Send me page 13 tonight. 12 and 13. I want to grade them. So I am putting this in your chat. Homework, send to me page 12 and 13 in science notebook if you have not done so already. If you did it, I have it. What?
You're supposed to write this.
Josiah, You're supposed to write what I just put in the chat. Use the same amount, yes. Use the same amount of beans for each. Use the same amount of glue. Use the same amount of beans. Yes.
They go to the bathroom.
And then draw a picture. Yeah, where you don't have to ask me to go to the bathroom. Okay, so send me page 12 and 13. We gotta go on to social studies, okay? Let me turn off the YouTube video. So that's the end of science.